understand that this is your time, guys, especially for the agents that are getting started and for the agents that are in the middle. I'm not talking about the top producers, right? We coach many of the top producers, and we also coach new agents. And Andres, you know that. And I say to the, many new agents and experienced agents, but not top producers, say, listen, I can't compete with the top agents in my area, right? They have thousands of dollars in marketing budget, $3,000-$4,000 in post course a week. They have a staff. I got it. But now this is your time, because I was talking to you yesterday, Andres.
Yes.
The playing field has been leveled. What do I mean by that? Well, now all those top agents that you couldn't compete with, right? Because they had the budget, they had the assistants, they had all this machine behind them. They put everything on hold. Now we are all working with the same tools, which is social media, content, and systems. Now there's no excuse of time. We have all the time in the world,
Yes.
Number two, is it expensive? It's not expensive. So at the end of the day, now all of us, whether you're new, experienced, or a top producer, all of us are using the same resources. It's just up to you to whether you want to commit or not.
That is completely true. And it's the time to really pivot. I think that's a very important time. It's the time to adapt, to adjust, to understand your systems, your tools, your processes. It's the time to work on yourself and on your business. No,
right.
I think times like this is where newcomers can, take on markets, and the biggest brands, some of the biggest brands in the world have been created always in shifts on the market like this. And that's part of what we're going to be discussing today, because as you said, Orlando, very, 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 very important. This is your time. So take it wisely and use it wisely to perfect your business strategy and focus on your own development and expanding your audiences more than the revenue that you're not making at this moment. No?
Yeah, you made a very good point. And Ines, who is joining us also, Ines, I think everybody in your company now knows Ines. And for the people that didn't know her before, she was the president of the association. She made her brand through social media, all through content. All right, so Ines is very experienced, and she's saying it right here, that the same playing field, no excuses. So again, one more time, the question right now that I want to bring to everybody in the seminar today, Andres, is, do we have a plan, or do we have a lot of webinars in our plan? Got it? Big difference, right? Most agents are being bombarded with a lot of webinars, and they're doing exactly the same mistakes they were doing before the pandemic, which is, let me go YouTube, seminars, webinars, books, and they're trying to create their own formula by getting a little bit from everybody instead of just following just a proven plan. So my question to you, within the next 30, 40 days, what's your number one priority? What do you think is the number one thing that can help you develop your business, and focus on that? That's my key message for today. Oops, Andres is rejoining the line. So again,
I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, you're there. Very good.
I had to change a frequency real quick, so I had to log out. So
right.
I apologize for that.
So again, one more time, it's
I was listening to you.
Right. So what's your number one thing you want to get out of this situation? The question is not what's going to happen at the end. The question is, what are we going to do while this is happening right now? Right.
Correct. And the way that as we were speaking a little bit yesterday, to try to give it some form to the process today, we're gonna divide it in 5 different sections, all about how to upgrade your business in terms of marketing. We're gonna go through some ideas, Orlando and I bouncing off each other. Orlando, I want to pick your brain in terms of that, and then after that, please start thinking about questions, start putting them together in the chat, as we always do. And we will then, once we finish with our session, we will really go in and dig deeper and address all your questions, guys. So please feel free to start posting them there. Right. We have several hundred people in the webinar, so we're excited to have all of you guys here. We've opened it up for other agents outside Avanti, which is something that we're also been doing to really give back to the community. So, and if anybody wants to go in and check some of the other webinars that we've been opening up before, and some other valuable training tools that we've opened up a section of our of our learning platform to be able to contribute to the community, which is part of what everybody should be doing these days. No, so I'm putting it in the chat. So anybody that wants to check it out and sign up has a lot of resources to learn as well. So Orlando, should we just dive right through this?
Let's do it.
Let's make it happen. All right. So I think a good way to organize this is to understand branding and marketing with the different sections, where we start with the why, then we continue with the who, then we'll move forward and talk about the where, then the what, and then we'll finish with the how. Does that make sense?
All right, let's do it. Hey, listen, you are the host today, so I'm all ears.
So perfect. That way we keep it organized. We've always discussed the fact that in marketing and thinking about your brand and how to penetrate a market, you first have to start with the why. I think we've always agreed on that, Orlando. So, the why is what basically drives you. It's the beliefs that you have. That is your why. We've always recommended a person, called Simon Sinek. He has this TED talk and book that's called the why.
Starting with the why.
Exactly. And he says it very well. So if you guys haven't seen it, it's important to see it. It's very, very, very short and digestible. But that's where you have to start understanding what's your worldview. People do business with people that they believe in. They consume products with products that they believe in, because every agent, sells houses. Every agent has production. Every agent has obviously transactions. The question is, why would anybody work or invest or buy or sell with you? And that's the first thing I want you, Orlando, to dig deeper on how to take this time right now to explore, if you haven't done so, or reflect on your why to create your brand.
Sure. So the first thing, I'm a big believer in mentors and coaches, and I've always had coaches since the first day I started in this business up until today. I still have my coach, and I mentioned Dan Sullivan, who's my current business coach, Perry Marshall, who is my marketing coach. And I remember from my first coach, he said something very important to me regarding on the why. And he said, people do business. People buy more into people than they buy into products. One more time. People buy way more into you than they buy into the product, right? So very, very important to understand exactly who you want to be a hero to. Got it? Who do you want to serve? Now, by understanding who you want to serve, and we talk about the probability versus the possibility. Is it possible for me, Andres, to do business with a Russian? Is it possible?
It's always possible.
It's always possible.
Always possible.
But you and I are from Venezuela. Is it more probable for me to do business with a Venezuelan or with a Russian?
Definitely a Venezuelan.
Venezuelan, right? So I want to serve, and for those of you who have seen me on TV, I like to serve my Hispanic community. I completely identify with them. That's on TV, right? In coaching, I identify specifically with the real estate community. I don't do business coach for everybody, even though I have other industries, but mainly it's real estate, because it's not that I am still a real estate agent. So I can truly identify to my people, and I want to serve my people. And it's very easy. So when I speak to a Venezuelan, I know exactly what they're going to say, where they stay. You and I can identify a Venezuelan 3 miles away from here, right? They dress the same, they go to the same restaurants, they stay in the same hotels, they talk about the same thing. So what are you passionate about in your business? You and I are passionate about communicating knowledge to other people. You and I can wait to be on camera. Right?
100%.
I identified that a long time ago, right? And I understood the power of being in front of a camera and saying my message, instead of selling one-to-one, selling one-to-many, right? That's a beautiful thing. So that's always been my passion, communicating, teaching. That's it, all right? So what's your passion, all right?
It's the perfect moment to try to look for that passion, because sometimes it's not something that just happens from one day to the next.
Right.
And what makes you different? Start by driving these questions home. What do you believe in? What are your values? What were you the first start doing?
Right.
What are you the best at doing? No, how do you differentiate from others? No, why would anybody buy, sell, or rent or invest with you?
So I'm gonna say something. I usually say this at the end of my seminars, and I discussed this with you yesterday, Andres, and I'm gonna say it right now. All right, but and I hopefully respectfully, right? But I know this is gonna hurt most people. All right, none of us, all right, chose. And don't worry, I'm gonna lift you up again. All right. Nobody here, all right, and I get a lot of heat in my seminars when I say this. None of us. All right, we're over 120 people today. I mean, we have a lot of people in the seminar today, but maybe an exception. All right, but most people in here didn't choose this profession, real estate. Most people. All right, we are doing this because of the money. It hurts. I know it hurts. All right, the reality, and you want me to prove it to you? Well, none of you in the call today said when you were little kids, when I grow up, I want to be a real estate agent. That one hurts. All right. Now, that being said, I can also tell you that I don't know personally any other industry where you can develop yourself financially, professionally, and intellectually as fast as real estate. It's a beautiful industry if you develop it. Now, because of the why that Andres is saying, only 2% of the population, less than 2% actually, all right, of the population actually do what they were born to do. Those are artists, those are singers, those are athletes. 98% of the population end up being lawyers, accountants, real estate agents, insurance agents, bankers. It's not our passion, but however, you can develop that passion. The more you do it, the better you get at it. The better you get at it, the more you like it. The more you like it, the more passionate you become. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Passion by doing.
Listen, my passion was to be a baseball player, and I didn't make it. Got it? So, but the better you do it, the more you like it. The more you like it, the more it becomes a passion. So you gotta master your skill in real estate. And the more, it's like math, right? The more you do math and the more good feedback reinforcement you get, the more you like it. Yeah. Right?
And I think you said something very good, the feedback and reinforcement, and seeing people really come back and seeing how you help others, because this is really an industry where it touches everybody's lives. And that's why even in a situation like the one we're standing today, the real estate agents that will have a market to serve, and have a market to serve now. If you're not in tourism or in other things where really everything stopped, and everybody, you know, as a main necessity needs a home and needs the advice and the work of a realtor, but that work has completely changed and shifted throughout time, and is more relevant right now than ever, than the role of the agent, given the technology, the information that everybody has on their hands, whereas before we had the information to provide to them and they did not have that. The service provider role and consultation role has changed. So remember, and as we get into this topic, Orlando, I don't know what you feel on it, but what got us here today is definitely not what will get you to be successful from here on, no? But the fundamentals keep on being the same, but the way you have to approach those fundamentals have changed, no? And for that, you have to be committed to your why and be passionate about the system you have, so you can transmit that to your consumers and through your brand, correct?
Yep. Yeah, the fundamentals are the same. I need to develop first and foremost my specialized knowledge. No specialized knowledge, and a lot of people, Andres, and you have, you know, almost 1,000. I mean, you're one of the biggest companies in South Florida. And when you speak to a lot of agents, like Ines speaks to a lot of agents, right? And most agents say, well, I want to help people. Most of those agents, what they're looking is just the commission. Because when you ask them, okay, tell me, if you want to help people, tell me what number of properties in your area for sale, the average price per square foot. They don't have the knowledge. So the fundamentals are the same. Number one, you need to have the specialized knowledge so you can truly help people. Number two, you need to do the marketing. And number three, you need to speak to people. It's the same now in a different environment.
Correct. Right. And the value when you speak to them, either in your marketing or in person, or when you're helping, they're asking other questions. They're needing other type of stuff from you. And you said something very interesting that I want to point out, Orlando. as I speak to agents and things. For example, I've seen a lot of agents that you ask them, so what's your passion? What do you like? And they tell me, I love my community, you know, and all their advertising, it's, you know, I'm your guy in this community. And it's all about the wording that they put. And they think that because of that, they're creating a brand that says that they love their community. But that all stays in words. The way to do it is by actions. So if instead of just saying, you know, that is the difference between branding and having a real brand and identity and just throwing marketing things out there and hoping they stick. No, I love my community. Instead of that, why don't, you know, do a lot of things for the community in different ways, so that people are the one that say, oh my God, this agent has to love his community. Look how they approach it. Look how they give back. Look how they're really providing to their community. So in terms of actions, the same way that you were saying before, I think it's how you really develop the brand, no?
Very good point. So again, if you truly value your community, if you truly want to help people, instead of saying that you are the best, because this is a typical advertisement from a real estate agent, right? Everybody, their picture, and we said that before, right? Their picture, right? From
20 years ago.
87 years ago. Picture, right? Number two, listen, I'm number one. I've never met an agent that is number 56. Everybody's number one. So it's all about me. By the way, Ines, and I think Ines is still here in the call, she said, we want to change the message from the agent-centric approach to that client-centric approach. So if you want to truly help your community, inform your community. What are the number of properties for sale, the average price per square foot, highest for sale, lowest for sale, days on the market? Those 6 things are critical. You can inform them about more, but every single week you should be in front of your community every single week via email, social media, YouTube, online and offline advertising, giving them valuable information so you can truly help them. 6 things: number of properties for sale, average price per square foot, highest, lowest for sale, and days on the market. That's key.
Well, for agents in Avanti Way, it would be a joke for you guys not to be able to provide that information, given that it's just one click and you get access to all that. We'll go through that very quickly now. But I think to drive home this point, Orlando, I'd love for you to tell us what your perspectives are on the difference between, because a lot of agents get confused. And when you're trying to penetrate a market and you're trying to put messages together and you're doing it without holding this fact through, you're kind of trying to start on step 3 or 4 without really solidifying the fundamental of your brand and identity, which is step 1. And now you have the time to really craft right, which is the difference between marketing and branding. You know, on my side, I mean, to me, marketing is what you do so others buy your service or your stuff, and branding is what you do so others believe in what you're marketing.
Yes. So the way I put it, and I want to say hi to Karina Dos Santos, is right here. It's just totally true. Karina and Key Scan, I know my team speak to you this morning. So best to you, Karina. Hope you're doing good. So here's the thing. The way I speak about marketing, all right, I want to make sure that I first get their attention, right? Remember how I talk about AIDA with you?
Which with me?
AIDA, yeah, we talk about AIDA, the marketing principle. So AIDA is one of the oldest marketing principles in existence, right? And when you go to any top university and you're studying marketing, they talk about this. And you can Google, guys, right now in Wikipedia, and you'll see AIDA, AIDA. So AIDA stands for 4 things, and this is the process of marketing. And by doing this, you will also achieve much faster your branding. So AIDA, it's number 1. The A stands, Andres, for attention. I need to get your attention, right? And definitely with my picture from 27 years ago, I'm not gonna get your attention. Got it? By the way, understand, in the attention phase, most of you are posting on Facebook, Instagram with your picture and picture of buildings and buildings and buildings. It's not getting anybody's attention because every other social media account looks exactly the same, right? By the way, understand that you are not competing against other real estate agents. When we, Andres, go online, especially social media, let's say Instagram, I'm not competing with other real estate agents. I'm not even competing with coaches. I'm competing with women in bikini. I'm serious. I'm competing with men half my age without a shirt in a great shape. So my message has to be extremely, extremely powerful so I can get your attention, then move you into the second phase, which is interest, then number 3, desire, and finally action. Because remember that it's much easier for people to do business with you when they find you instead of when you find them. So in order for me to create my brand, I need to first get your attention. Now, once I get you into my ecosystem, because I got your attention, the 3 things you need to know before selling your home in Coral Gables, right? What are you an international investor? Don't buy a property in Miami before reading this 7-step guide, right? I need to get your attention and then develop my brand. But first comes the A for attention: attention, interest, desire, and finally action. So you can develop your brand.
100%, 100%. But it has to be a clear message. Clarity is very important when you're building a brand. Consistency is very important when you're building a brand. And for us, again, start with the why, and why should others care? Where is value? Where is the value in whatever you're going to put out there, and make it consistent in terms of not all over the place. And we spoke a lot about that, Orlando, before. And I'd love to kind of give it as a segue to the second W, which is the who, which is so important, because once you have your why, you can't target everybody, and you can't have the same message because you become unclear. So the who, as far as the customer, the audience, the target market, and who is it that you're serving, is also very important. And now is the time to really get those concepts right, because you're not running around dropping off an application to the condominium, running around with all the urgent things that realtors do so many times, that now the world has faded those away. So you have time to focus on what's important. And we always preach, together, which is now, okay, you know your why. What about your audience and your who?
Very good. So I'm going to give you 2 examples, the one that I always give, and then I'm going to give you a surprise example, especially a person called by the name of Stephanie. Do not leave, okay? Because I have a surprise right here. So, okay, understand, I always give the same example, right? And the who, right? Who makes more money, Andres? The general doctor, right? The doctor does a little bit of everything. The general doctor or the specialist? Who makes more money?
We always say it, the specialist.
The specialist, right? Always. And he says, listen, I only perform surgery on the right foot. That's all I do. Nobody heard something. Listen, go to somebody else.
100%.
Right? Now, by the way, let me see right here. In this book, all right, which you're also in this book, The Ultimate Real Estate Agent, all the agents say they understand that they're in the business of marketing, the ultimate real estate agent. All right. You can find it on Amazon, by the way. Find it real quick. So it's all about the who that you said. Got it?
100%.
So who makes more money, the general doctor or the specialist?
Specialist.
But who makes more money, the specialist, that doctor, or Dr. Oz from TV? Right? Why? Because he's a celebrity. Now, Stephanie Cabral says, hi, Orlando. Thank you, Andres, for opening this webinar to all of us. All right. Are you familiar with Stephanie? I don't know if you are. Stephanie has worked with me for a long, long time. She's a celebrity, Stephanie Cabral, to the Dominican international clientele. And we were talking about the content. Look, because I saw Stephanie right here. All right. Look at this. I think Stephanie's going to like this. So this is a magazine, right? So it's not only talking about her, but it's talking about everything real estate, right? So it's all about the content, being out there every day. Stephanie has an amazing YouTube channel. You should follow that. She's constantly not only creating YouTube videos, but also posting them on WhatsApp. It's being in front of the people, the audience, the message.
Put your channel in a link so people can check it out.
And also, I'm going to put my channel right here. I'm going to follow my channel, both of my channels. I'm going to give you this and copy what I do. All right? Just copy it. And let me see. I can share this with you. By the way, you want to learn how to do YouTube videos, just follow my formula. I'll show it to you right there. And if you want to ask me that, I'll give you the 4-step formula. Listen, I have videos that have been seen more than 500. Listen, Andres, let me give a quick, because of the who. I think it's important. Let me share this right here. Let me share my screen. Let me see if, confirm, Andres, that you can see it. And Stephanie's laughing right now. So let me see if you can confirm that you can see this YouTube channel right here. This one right here first.
Yes.
So right here. Let's go sort by most popular. So these have videos right here that have been seen, and these are all in Spanish. Why? Because my audience is in Spanish. Over 460,000 times out. Now, for those of you who think, well, but I need a high definition camera, I need a high quality studio. Listen, these videos, 460,000, 292,000 times compared to, listen, I have an interview here, right here in Despierta America with Miss Universe. Doesn't have even a quarter of the ones in my office. Why? Because of the content. Everybody can do this, and I'll be more than glad to give you the 4-step process to creating videos on YouTube, which you can also extrapolate to any other platform, right? So it's all about the content, but the who, which is the topic that we're talking about right now in the webinar, is the who. Who is your audience? Very, very important. All right.
And in terms of the who, it's about, in the who you have who in terms of the type of service, because that's your audience. The who is also which market, are you going to define a specific market for this, and putting yourself in your customer. Who is your customer? What is it that they value? Because if you don't understand who your audience is, and it cannot be everybody, it cannot be all the market geographically, nor all the types of product. You can't be a master in selling and buying, and for the investor, and the high end, the low end, the foreclosures, and at the same time, the second homeowners that buy penthouses in Sunny Isles for millions of dollars. You have to choose, and for that is why this is second step, because if you don't know your why, it is very hard to then define, who am I going to service? Who am I actually feeling good about servicing? Do you think Orlando and I and everybody that does brokerage and works in real estate would do it if we weren't passionate about trying to do these things for you guys? We would have chosen another target, because it gets to a point where you have to believe in the needs that your audiences have, and that's part of what we're trying to really get you here. No, Orlando, and you speak a lot about defining your target audience, also in terms of the market area and geographic sections that you guys have. No,
listen, we work with a lot of top agents in Miami, and you know some of these: Riley Smith, Nancy Batchelor, Darren Tennessee, Anthony. I mean, they're top agents doing 200, 300 transactions a year. Think about any top agent within Avanti and within any other company that that you admire, respect professionally. All those agents focus in a very specific area. They're serving a very specific niche. And I always talk about Riley. That's the number one agent in Miami, Riley Smith. And
I want to show you guys something using our platform very quickly regarding this. Let me share, because this is very important on specialization and understanding your who. Because you have to decide, if you're starting or if you're trying to create a market, which one is going to be your who. There has to be a good addressable market. But you know what the first problem is with the lack of focus of agents trying to define or penetrate a market is that they feel they're missing out. That if they don't do everything, they're missing out on deals. So that's why it's important to understand the market that way. Let me turn on the screen real quick, and let me know, Orlando, if you're seeing my screen.
I can see it.
All right, so we're in our Avex platform. This is our Avanti Way internal platform for those of you that are coming from outside, where you have a ton of, obviously, Orlando have seen it, tools for everything. And one of the things, what's that?
Amazing platform.
Yeah.
I spent 2 hours last week with Enrique going through the platform.
Yes, and at the end of the day, what we're trying to provide here is the simplicity of obviously understanding the markets and doing all that, so you can spend more time in strategizing and doing other things than trying to compile data. This is, for example, a person. I'm not showing the name. I left that on top, but this is a typical agent that does very well. But even doing very well, I want you to see how typical agents work. These are the zip codes that the agent covers. So he has a little bit of more focus on 33069, but look how scattered this person is. He's a $1.9 million producer per year, and look at how scattered his map is. So this person is all over the place. He works with people from Argentina and the United States, but look at the map. This is impressive to see. This person has transactions all over, and this is how the generalist market really works. If somebody like this would focus on a market, would focus on an area, and become that specialist that we're trying to deliver in terms of what that area and the consumers of that area, those communities and those people really need, instead of what you think they want, then there's a huge potential. Let's say you can pick any of these areas. For example, this one down here. So if I just go in very quickly and choose one of his mini areas, okay, let's check, which happens to be a Brickell. So he also does Brickell. So let's choose just this little area in Brickell. And we just go ahead and say, okay, I'm just going to choose transactions in this little area in Brickell. Okay, and I'm going to take this out and execute it to another part of the screen. Do you see this part of the screen as well?
Yep.
Okay, so just by choosing this, I'm basically creating a whole data plan for somebody that is all over the place. And I'm here about to tell him, listen, if you just focus on this area, look at how much money there is to be made. So it'll give you all the analytics for the area, okay, in one simple click. And it not only tells you how much money there is to be made, which you can see right here, $4 million on commissions in the last 12 months only were paid in that place. There were 137 million transactions in terms of volume. And then I'm telling you what that area really wants. They want 1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms mainly. This is what's really moving. And then we can go and dissect this more and more and more. I'm not going to take more time, but I can really go and dissect who are the people that are really buying in this area and all the information about it. But the most critical part that I want to show you about this area, besides obviously the fact that we will give you the leads and who to contact and all that stuff, is that you can go and set up and say, even in this area, if I only want to focus on those people that are within the $400,000 to $600,000 range, only within that area, look at this, and I want to make $100,000 of income. Okay, in that case, only that area might be cutting it short, because I would need to do 13% of the deals. But if I want to do, for example, just working that area, let's say, instead of that, let me open it up for a little bit and say, just in that little area, I want to work with somebody that wants to.
Which, by the way, Andres, 13% is not crazy.
It's not crazy, not even.
12 to 15% in an area. By the way, it shows 7 transactions a year. Yes. So 7 transactions a year and 13%, it's not a crazy number.
So here it is. Look, I'm doing $100,000 in between $400,000 and $800,000 just in that minimal area, and that's just letting you know I just have to close 7 transactions a year. I have to do 1 weekly appointment and 6 monthly appointments to get that going, and then I'll have all the data for that area. So let me ask you, Orlando, when you see things like this, and as an agent, you then go and realize there's an addressable market for me to be there. Should I be working all the rest of the areas that you saw in that business plan that this agent was working?
Never. And here's the reason why. Here's the reason, guys. We want to help. The only way we get paid is by providing real value. All right? The only way, one more time, we can get paid is by providing value. Not by saying we're great, not by saying we have a lot of experience, is by truly delivering value. I can be valuable, all right? Listen, Andres, my office is in the Coral Gables, right? Where do you think I live?
Coral Gables?
Where do you think, when I go through the boat in the weekends, the Coral Gables waterways, where do you think my kids go to school? Coral Gables, right? Where do you think I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner in Coral Gables? I have sometimes meetings in Aventura, and I don't know where to get off. Ives Dairy, Miami Gardens, no clue. You asked me to meet at the Starbucks in Aventura, I have no clue. So how am I going to truly provide value as a real estate agent to a client, all right? And if I don't know the area. So definitely focus. The more hyper-focused you become, the more money you make, because you're truly providing value. You can't compete with an agent that lives, breathes a very specific area that you're not focusing. Listen, you ask me most things about the Gables, I know, not because I'm paying attention, it's because I'm here all day long, every day.
Yeah, so if you want to serve a community, which community do you know best? Where can you go and talk to the restaurant owners, talk to the people that are out there, talk to the people in the school of your kids, etc. It's in the community that you are at least connected with, no?
You truly want to help people, specialize. By the way, this is not a new concept from Andres or from me. This is what's been called in real estate for more than 60 years, farming. That's simple. Think about any top agent and you'll see, by the way, it works with international clients too. Stephanie is an amazing agent. She focuses, you said geographically, right? Sometimes in type of clients. Stephanie focuses on Dominican clients and she goes there every quarter. She does seminars. She do a lot of videos for them. She has the presence. She has the connections. She has advertising in the Dominican Republic. So what's your audience? It's the who that you were talking about.
100%. And the who that we're talking about is something that you have to draft. If not, you're starting on the wrong foot. So take the time now, agents, to really craft your why, your who. And once you know that, you'll know the value of the needs that they have. And you'll also know what are the next steps of that we're going to talk about now. But without having the why and the who, then you can't even go to the next one, which is the where, which is okay. So market specialization. Let's go to the where. Let's move on. So that's area segmentation, the positioning game, Orlando. You love to speak about the positioning game and the power of focus on the positioning game to become that authority and that expert. So tell us about that. That is the where. Where should my focus be within that audience, no?
Sure, very simple. So I'm going to start with something very important, which is marketing. All of us, regardless of your financial status, all of us have a limited budget. So for some people it's 0, for some people it's 100, and for some people it's thousands or millions, but still it's limited. So you talk about scatter location when you show the map in AVEX, right?
Yes.
You know that. So it's not the same. Listen, if I have, let's say $1,000, a number, it might be a lot for some of you or very little for some of you. If I have $1,000, Andres, is it going to work more if I put $1,000 in my building or $10 in Aventura, $10 in Coral Gables, $10 in Brickell?
It's very second nature. It would be in my building. You're double.
Exactly. So very, very important. So how do we get started? Well, number one, I'll be more than glad for those of you who want it. Send me an email, guys, at info@Montiel Organization. I'll send you this on how to position yourself. 12 listings in 12 months, and I'll send you that. I'll put info@Montiel Organization. I'll put it here. I'll be more than glad. My team will send it to you.
Okay, you're going to put it? I was writing it.
Montiel Organization, and I'll show you exactly how to get 12 listings in 12 months. All right? If you're brand new to listings. So geographically, number one, we want to get started with the area where we live. And Andres, some people say, well, but I don't know, I want to work in an area that is more higher end. Listen, people won't see to look at you eye to eye. And the place you know is the place where you live. Got it? Or the place at least where you go to the office every single day. You can't, if I decide to become a listing agent in the Gable, you must live in the Gable. So you won't be able to compete with me. Because by default, I know exactly what's happening every day. So what we want to do, all right, is start where we live and then expand at most to a mile radio, no more than a mile radio. And what I want is to identify 80 to 90 properties sold within the last 12 months. One more time, I want to identify an area of 80 to 90 properties sold within the last 12 months. Because if you can get 10 to 12 to 15% market share in your area, you'll close 12 transactions. And that's what we explain right here. I'll be more than glad to send it to you. It's completely free. All right. So we start with that. Number one, where I live. Forget about the next market that is more higher end. You want to dominate yours first. You want to develop your pre-qualifying, following up, presenting, handling objection skills so you can close more people and then graduate like Nivaldo. You like my example of Nivaldo all the time, right? Which is, Andres, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Right? That Nivaldo started with one. He's now recognized as one of the top listing agents in Miami. When he started with me, he did $30,000 before joining the coaching in 2 years. And then he specialized and he became one of the top agents in Miami. You can research his name. But he started with one building, then 2 buildings. Then he moved to Acoya. He dominated Acoya. Now he moved to the blue and green diamond. He's dominating the blue and green diamond. But you upgrade your business as you upgrade yourself. You're starting a 1 mile radio, 80 to 90 properties sold within the last 12 months, and you hyper focus in that area, and you have the Avanti platform to identify that for you.
I mean, not only does it allow you to understand your consumer, it allows you to obviously focus your efforts and double down on your limited budget, which are the things that you mentioned. But it also, besides understanding your consumer and doing that, it makes it possible with the amount of time that we have to really know what value to deliver, create the pieces, understand the 5 or 6 important numbers that you need to constantly understand about how many listings have sold, how many. So your memory has a certain space. You can't go beyond that. So obviously you have to, it'll make it much easier for you to also deliver the value that the community leaves, because if now you're all scattered, and again, before you even go and contemplate the area, I think you have to even understand, am I going to focus a lot of sellers and I'm going to focus a lot with the buyers? Am I going to be a resource for the renters? What is it that I'm going to focus even within that area? Know what type of consumer is the one that I want to deliver value to, and that I want clarity so that they understand my branding, correct?
Yeah, and by the way, within your platform, you just show it right now, which you can say, listen, yeah, this is my area, but I want to focus specifically on the $300,000 to $400,000 properties and see what numbers I get. So you don't even have to focus on, in my case, I live in Coral Gables. You don't even have to focus on Coral Gables, South, North Gables, by the water. You can even focus with the platform with a specific price range.
And imagine with one click, you know that this is an area where you have 44, only this little section, only within this price range of 400 to 800, and you can do whatever variations of it. You have 42 months of inventory. You know that the properties that are closing at $426 a foot. You know that the properties that are active are at $524 a foot. You know how many days in the market for the ones that are closing. You know the days in the market for the ones that are active. You know the number of households that are there. You know how many properties have closed versus how many properties are active. 83 closed versus 289 active. And then you can even go further in. If you want to become the specialist for the 2-bedroom, you will know the min, the max, and how all those numbers in terms of, for example, the contribution. Did you know that, for example, for 2 bedrooms, 13% of the deals in that specific market and getting selling contributions? So the question is, what type of value does the consumer these days needs? It's that type of value. They need the data analysis. They need to go beyond the generalities of the market, and for you to really become the hyper local expert, which is something that unless you are really dominating and spending the time understanding the mechanics of a market, it's going to be very, very hard for you to be able to grab anybody's attention and provide value and really give the advice that today's consumer really needs, correct?
Exactly. So imagine, remember, in average, according to the National Association of Realtors, buyers and sellers are talking to other 4.5 agents. So they're not only talking to you, and you know that because you hear it from your clients. So in order to position yourself as the expert that can provide the highest value, you need to have very concrete information, data, right? So imagine Mr. Seller. All right. So one of there are only 8 objections, Andres, only 8 objections from sellers. We're talking about there are only 8. When I ask in the seminars, how many objections do you think you get from sellers? And people say, oh man, infinite, so many. Guys, after 22 years in the business, there are only 8 objections. I can guarantee it 100%. 100%. And we showed you that in the training, right?
We spoke about it, 2 plus 2.
Huh?
What is 2 plus 2?
2 plus it's 4.
Okay, and 4 plus 4?
16.
No, times 4.
Hey.
But why do you know it? Because you know it, you practice it. So the 8 objections just as that. You just have to repeat them and repeat them.
Exactly. It's just practice, right? So yeah, 4 plus 4 is 8 or 16? Just made a mistake. Yeah,
well, that one's a little bit confusing depending on the data, no?
So let me go back to that. So one of the objections, which is in our training, it's objection number 3. It's comparison, and they're gonna say, "Listen, Andres, I love your presentation. However, I want to give myself the time to interview other agents." Got it? Now, our answer as the listing agent has to be, listen, I completely understand that you want to compare us to other agents because you want to identify or hire the agent that is most prepared for the job of selling your home. However, in order for you to identify that person, who has to be prepared? You first, Mr. Seller. So I'm going to give you a series of questions. There are 12 questions, and I'm going to give them to you. Please write down the answer. So let me tell you, right now in the area, 3-bedroom or 26 properties for sale. The average price is $478,322. The average price per square foot is $386. The highest for sale is $723,500. The lowest for sale is a foreclosure court for $297, and the days on the market is 131. What is happening? Am I telling that client that I'm the expert? No. He's seeing it. And what do you think is going to happen when the seller asks those questions to the next agent? What is exactly? Can you repeat the question? It's a very simple question. If you say you're an expert and you say you can help me, can you tell me in our building how many properties are for sale? If you can find that, if you don't know that information by memory, like you said, 2 + 2, 4 + 4, man, you're done.
Got it? And if you have the system, open it up. Open it up, because the guy's just not going to understand, because he's used to now opening up for you Zillow and the other stuff. And then you have to be able to understand, listen, the real estate world is not the same everywhere. Zillow and all those places are getting algorithms that are very general. You need the local expert and look at the data that now we can come up with very, very fast to try to really deliver the value. You have to have a differentiating point right away so they see that value, which is different than the value Orlando and I were talking about 7 or 8 years ago, because the market has changed. The information is already on the consumer side. So now we have to validate and make that information relevant and hyper local.
Right. I'm talking about passion, which was the first question you started today with, right? Which is the why. Now, when you see the face of your clients going like, whoa, this person really knows what he's talking about, now you start to get that passion. But passion only comes after, unless you're in the 2%, a singer, artist, or athlete, that passion comes after you see the reaction from your people because you prepare yourself.
100%. And now talking about the where, Orlando, knowing that we're in a very specific time of the world, obviously unprecedented times, no? And we don't know exactly how everything is going to end in terms of the world stop that we're in now, or semi-stop. But what we know is that we're going to come out of this. That we know 100% is not going to take out the human race, and real estate and the market and the agents. It's actually going to make us, I think, a little bit more relevant, because now people need us more. They're a little bit more scared of making some moves by themselves, or they're going to think it twice with the iBuyer world. No, now I think that we become more relevant. So we have to prepare right to provide that value. What's your take as to what markets do you feel, if people are trying to select a market and they live in an area that kind of has, middle class market versus super high end market, international, non-international? What would be your thoughts or your takes on what markets to give advice to agents to try to really look into right now, especially with the situation we have going on right now?
Sure. Well, number one, I want to start with the natural market, which is where you live, right? You should always, regardless of where the economy is, you should always be an expert on your market. It's the easiest market to master, and it's the easiest market for the clients to relate to you, right? I'm going to go to number two, not in order of importance, but Eduardo Sanchez, who you know very well, who works with you, he asked a question. Okay, we specialize in investors, right? It's difficult to identify a farming area. And I completely agree with Eduardo on when you work with international clients, like, for example, like myself and like Stephanie Cabral, right? So we don't specialize in terms of area farming. We specialize in terms of products, right? In our case, it's just a product, right? It's a cash flow product, right? Sometimes it's a pre-construction, not as an investment. It's because they want something new. That's it. And then there are two specific areas right now for international clients. By the way, very important for those of you who work with international clients. Once we get out of this one, in my opinion, and again, it's an opinion. My opinion might be as good as anybody else's. Everybody's just giving opinions, so right? It's not a fact. But what I see is that international clients need to park their money in a safe place, right? And the United States is one of the safest places. So they're going to want to come back, especially to South Florida and Orlando and Miami, and want to park their money in properties. So those are two very important. First, if you're 100% local, hey, you're where you live, an area, mile radio. And if you work with international clients, definitely it is at a very strong area. Identify 3 or 5 different products for those international clients and master them. I hope that answers that question.
No, 100%. So yes, when you're dealing with investors, which is the most complicated out of the 4 types of client in terms of buyer, renter, seller, and investor. Investor should not be the first one that you start with. I mean, I think that's the one that you progressively get to, in my opinion. But on the investor advisory role, it's all about the product. So now it's the time to understand that type of product that provides, let's say, middle class product for cash flow properties, which Eduardo, you've seen us talk about many times, which becomes very resilient in these type of situations where even you need to get cash, and you need to make sure that people that are downgrading, upgrading, and that have the possibility, some of them to buy, some of them to rent, can be part of that middle class product that normally becomes very resilient. You know, the luxury market fluctuates in a more volatile environment here
which by the way, Gianfranco is also asking that, which are going to be the markets that, according to your experience, are going to be the top markets? Again, to me, international, by the way, 2 things. So I'm going to answer that, and then I would like to hear your opinion. So you see Gianfranco's question right here? Okay. So 2, let's start with, as I said, your local market. All right, sellers. Let's talk about sellers. Let's talk about first, real quick, about buyers. My opinion, I want your take on that too. I've never met a buyer that needed to buy a property. Never, ever. And I don't think there will ever exist a buyer that needs to buy. Here's the reason why. The buyer has the option, if he's local, to stay where he is or rent, all right, for a lower outflow of money. All right, it might be cheaper long-term to buy than to rent. I agree with that, all right, in many cases, but it's always cheaper to rent in the short term in terms of cash outflow. Got it? Or if he's an international client, he can always stay in a hotel. So buyers really don't need to buy. Got it? Doesn't mean don't work with buyers. Work with buyers. Don't forget about them, but focus on your sellers. Eventually, your buyers will become your sellers. So markets, Gianfranco, definitely your local clients. You need to master your listing skills. That is key. No better time than now to develop your listing skills. And if you work with international clients, I think Mexico is going to stay very, very strong. Venezuela is still strong. Argentina is still strong. If you speak Portuguese, Brazilians, even though the currency in all those countries is taking a hit, I think we're going to be a safe haven for those people. Again, that's my opinion. What about you, Andres?
Listen, I agree with you in the sense that there's always the options of the buyer. The buyer always has the option to rent and to buy. And that's why it's very important to qualify. I think that's where qualification and pre-qual is so important on identifying urgency and motivation when you're talking to a potential buyer that tells you want to buy. And that's why the phrase of buyers are liars exists. And that's why many agents exit the industry, because they focus on anything that the buyer wants and they start showing property. Right. So they just tell them, listen, I want to buy. And that's the only thing that they heard on the phone. And they're already setting up appointments and running around to a market in Homestead when they live in Sunny Isles to show a $200,000 property. Right. So I agree with that. But I do feel that you have to try to identify always what's the opportunity. And people will always, opportunity is all about timing and what you're giving up and what you're receiving. There's always an equation of value. So you as an expert, if you have the right data and you know what are the benefits of buying versus what are the benefits of selling, of renting, and you understand that when you have a person that might buy or buy rent, that's a client. So you're not focusing on buyer, you're focusing on the client, and whether that client becomes a buyer today or in a year or two, you hold that client in and he might refer you others if you do a great job, even if you just got them a rental to at some point become a buyer. Because in this country, and especially in this market, there's many places where the equation of buy and sell that we constantly talk about in Avanti and run a lot of data in our AVEX platform about that as well, really makes many places cheaper to buy than to rent when we go to the west side of the market, no? So, and with financing being at a all-time low with rates that will continue the same way, you have to be able to position yourself to explain those things and have the decision come from the renter or buyer, but it's a potential customer. Again, your only non-customer is a homeless person.
Right.
That's your only non-customer. So everybody else, it's about
needs real estate services.
Yes. So at the end of the day, it's about a message. And when you understand the renter market, you understand the investor market too. So if you really want to understand investments, you need to understand what makes the investments the income, which are the renters. We get you to see the product. So buyer renter have to be together if you're going to tackle them right. And you have to be a source of value for renters on how to become buyers and why. And if it's not the time for them, try to understand that, give them the right service or put them with the right co-agent that can help you when you delegate, and then give them the right service, fix their issue, and then move on with the rest of your people. But renters are great people to have also in your database for past clients and future business, because the time will come when they will reach back out to you if they see you as the expert constantly providing value to shift from renting to buying. 100%. And in this market today, Orlando, my prediction, I don't know if you see it as well, but Enriquez and I, as we look at that, in whatever shift of the market, because we're talking about market penetration in shifting markets, talking to renters and people that are not in a position to buy yet, but will be, is a very important part of the game. Because renters, or a lot of people, will need to rent. If less people can buy, a lot of people need to rent. But those people within a year or several months will be ready to buy. So one of the strategies to penetrate markets now in your area could be to focus on assisting those renters navigate through this, and seeing with the low interest rate environment, how can you position them on the equation buy versus rent, which in many of these places, it's going to happen because rents are going to increase. In every recession, if it hits and how it hits, rents also go up because more people need to rent. And if inventory is limited, that's what's happened. What's your take on that, Orlando?
Well, very simple. Renters will become buyers. Buyers will become sellers. Yes. All right. So at the end of the day, and we have within our program is how to focus on the renters, like the expert to the renter. Remember that is how to become the expert to the renter. By the way, yeah, rentals, the commissions are much lower. However, if you can develop a method, which is part of what we teach, develop a method to do volume, you can get $4,000-$5,000 a month, which is not bad, especially in a situation where it's a little bit more difficult right now to generate income. All right. So renters, definitely, you need to position yourself, but again, in an area. Rentals will become buyers, buyers will become sellers. All right. And the earlier you get them, the easier it is for you to get them to become your sellers.
But something key, you have to constantly be top of mind for them. You have to bring them to your database, because if you just rent once and all the ones that you did not rent to because the deal fell apart, you have to have a system and a process to keep in touch with them, and them seeing you as the guy that's going to take him through buying or renting their next property.
Very good, which, by the way, ties on to a question that Gianmarco, right? Gianmarco made, which is, well, there are over 45,000 agents in the association. And by the way, I think, Gianfranco, that number is low. Inez, you'll be more aware than me. I think we surpassed the 56,000 agents. But beautifully, the beautiful thing about real estate is that there's not much competition. Ooh, there is a screen. There is not much, because most agents don't even know where they live. They have no clue. So competition is when you're competing against somebody that is at your level or above. Got it? That's competition. When somebody has, me playing baseball with my son, it's not competition. Right? My son is 12 years old. Yeah. I'm 45, even though I look way older. All right. Anyways, so
may I show you something with this?
Sure.
Which is important. Look at this area, which is the one that we were looking at. Look at the top agents, no? Mm-hmm. If I open all the agents in this area between 400,000 and 800,000, there's 80 agents that sold property in that market, in that market in the last 12 months. 80. And from those 80, there's only 3 that have sold 2 properties. The rest is just one. What would happen in any market that we go and try to tackle?
So Gianfranco, right here, very good point, and a very good point Gianfranco brings, and very good data that you have. And there's, at the end of the day, what we need is to make sure, remember, as I always say, we are not in the business of real estate. We are in the business of marketing. Most of us think that we are real estate agents, when in fact we are what? Secret agents. Nobody knows who we are in our area. We are driving away from our home and we see all those for sale signs. None of those are ours. We are not real estate agents. We're secret agents. So Gianfranco, in order to answer that question, how do we compete with all those 45,000? First, as Andres showed, there's very little competition. There is, but very few people. All right. Now, here's the point. You need to make sure that you master your marketing skills. At the end of the day, it's marketing. All of the top agents will agree on that. The Ultimate Real Estate Agent book. Okay, by the way, you can watch, I'm going to tell them, you can watch, guys, subscribe to this. And I think I already asked you, but watch the top agents. By the way, I have Andres right here. I'm going to put it in the chat. I have Andres and Enrique in this video. Subscribe to this and watch the top agents. Subscribe. The top agents talking about marketing. All right, we are in the business of marketing, and the way you position yourself and compete, Gianfranco, is through marketing. There are 4 quadrants to marketing. I'm going to go from the cheapest to the most expensive one. I'm not saying one is more important than the other one, but I'm going to go from the cheapest one to the most expensive one. Email marketing, number 1. You need to have the database to everybody in your area, every single person in your area. Number 2, social media. Number 3, online marketing, which is retargeting and Google Ads. And number 4, finally, it's offline marketing. Now, depending on your budget, you're going to cover 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, ideally all 4. All right. So I'm going to ask you to, if you want to go subscribe here and see the top agents, including Andres and Enrique. Go ahead, Enrique. Anything else?
No, I think that's great. I wanna dig deeper on one point that you mentioned that it's extremely important, which is the concept of the database. You're talking about where, and a lot of people get confused on the difference between a database and a sphere of influence. And a lot of people get confused about what to send to a database or a circle of influence and all those things. And I want to hear your thoughts about that, and geo-farming versus just trying to market to whoever is in your database. Mm-hmm. Give me your perspective on that as people. I know a lot of people really start in the business, and most agents really start by selling to their 2-3 main people in their database, and they feel that that's on their sphere of influence, which at the beginning it's all your database, right? But then they get stuck doing that, and they never penetrated a market. So tell me your perspective. I'll add any sides on my side, but it's very important you guys, as part of the session, get a very important grasp of those differences and how to really tackle a database the right way, no? So
let's start with the 3 circles we talk about in coaching, right? The first circle is very, very small circle, which is our sphere of influence, right? Friends and family. Got it? So, but that's very small. Whether you come from a rich family or not, you're going to run out of sphere of influence super fast.
Very fast.
No, exactly. Very fast. Now, if you do a good job, what happens is that these people are going to refer you to a bigger circle, which is your referral network, which is good. Not enough, but it's good. Now, where you truly start making good money in real estate is in the bigger circle, which is when you start talking to people that you don't know, but they know who you are. And the only way to do that is through marketing. Now, in order to do that, we need to make sure that we have the right message. Segmenting, like you were talking about right here, give me your take, and you said, Andres, on the how to tackle that list. I need to segment my message into buyers and into sellers. I can't send the same information to both most of the time because they have completely different needs. Got it? So I need to make sure, and you guys have that, and we provide that too, right? A system, a CRM system, and an email marketing sequence that allows you to see who is interested, starting with bucket number 1 of marketing, which is email marketing, right? So I need to have the right content with enough frequency and consistency to position myself as an expert and start eliminating the wannabe real estate agents. Does that answer your question, Andres, or do you want to go deeper on that?
No, that answers the question. I'm gonna just try to see what you think about this, the crowd that we have in many of the agents that then I feel at some point get overwhelmed with the whole it's dissecting and categorizing of their list. No, because many times this works very well on theory, but then they start trying to do this for so long that they spend 7 months trying to deliver the right message. So you gotta start. You gotta send it out. And it's much better to send, and this is my point. Let me know if you feel about that, and I love that discussion.
Sure.
You'd rather have one message that at least is going out to everybody, and then as you start getting more feedback and more information, then you start dissecting as a second step your list, and then you'll get to the amazing holy grail in database management, which you have several messages for the different people, and then you have retargeting message for the one that are opening the list. You're basically getting a lot of insights of who's touching, then clicking and doing the different things, and you do retargeting stuff to them, or it tells you who should call and connect with because they have the list. Do you agree with the concept of starting easier and then making it more complex later than starting to try to do everything at the beginning?
100%. So what we train our agents to do in the coaching program is let's start with just 2 basic lists, right? So we know how to segment the content. Let's start with the buyers list and then with the sellers list. Well, how do I identify whether they're buyers or sellers? Okay, very good. Everybody within your target community, let's say in North Gables, where my office is, right? Everybody North Gables, all right? The list of emails that I get, and you need to get those emails, right? The list of emails that I get from those people, those are going to be my sellers. Got it? Everybody else, friends, family, past clients, those are what? In my buyers list. They're going to get different information from sellers, right? You should get that done within the first week and a half. It doesn't take much. Now, I 100% agree with Andres, which is, listen, even if you don't have it segmented, just start today. Now, one very good point from Riley. You know what? That's my big time guy, right? Over 300 transactions closed last year. He said something very important. By the way, he says, most people are not going to read your email. But here's what happens. In order to delete it, first, you have to see it. Got it? And that's the beautiful thing about email marketing. So yes, you want to segment them into buyers, sellers, investors, past clients, ultra luxury clients, eventually. All right? But just get started today, presence. And there's no better marketing tool than email marketing. And again, Andres, this is always the objective. But people are not reading emails. Hey, I 100% agree. When people go into their inbox, they're in delete mode. Delete. But in order to delete it, first, they have to see it.
100%. And you're getting their attention right there.
Exactly.
So database, again, your database is a growing monster, no? And that becomes the livelihood of your business. It starts just by being your circle of influence, and then what you can add from all the rest of your marketing initiatives as you start putting those together. So you will get some business at the beginning from your circle of influence, but you got to reinvest that back into that penetration strategy, geofarm. So everything has to go back to your penetration strategy and through the right content and resources to attract the audience that we're giving or telling you, using your clarity of your why and your branding. So it's all going back, as you see on the sequence of the why, who, where, and now we get to the next one, which would be, I guess, the what, which I think is one that we're going to try to dive in and give you guys a lot of insights and ideas with you, Orlando, which, okay, so I understood my specialist call to become a specialist agent, and I'm
the celebrity, actually.
I'm sorry?
The celebrity. In my
celebrity side of it, the authority, understanding my data, knowing my positioning, understanding the who and who's my audience after I crafted my belief system, my why. But now, what's the message? Talk to me about the importance, Orlando, of content, and especially during this quarantine, content and repurposing. Where do we get the right content? What are the ideas on how to deliver it right? And how do we produce it for the mindset of today? Where is the opportunity on the content?
So very important. And let me see if I can share right here, because I said I was promised I was going to share this. Let's start first and foremost with content, all right? Explaining why it's so important. We said we're in the business of what? In the business of marketing, right?
Marketing.
Right. Okay, got it. So if you understand that we're in the business of marketing, all right? And we need enough frequency and consistency. We also need to understand that what fuels our marketing engine is our content. We can't tell every single week, everybody, that we are number one. I'm number one. I'm the best. I'm the best. Call me, call me, call me, call me. Because nobody's going to call us, and we know that. So let's understand first and foremost why content is so important, because it fuels your marketing campaigns, whether it's email, social media, online or offline marketing, right? That being said, right, you need to have an automatic email marketing system and content. If you're within Avanti, they provide you with that. If you're not within Avanti, we give you all of that. We give you the site, the web, the email marketing, the automation. You need to create it. You should learn it eventually so you can say it on camera, all right? So if you work with Avanti and you ask me that, well, how do you create the content? You guys provide that within the company, all right? And if you're not with Avanti, we provide that. We give you the site, everything together. That's what we call the black box. We have somewhere around here. So we have all of that in here. By the way, and people say, oh, but I also have one with Avanti or I have one with Octopus. You should have 2 or 3.
Yeah.
We have agents that have 3 or 4 different websites. I have Infusionsoft, MailChimp, Constant Contact. Now we are also using Flowdesk, which, by the way, I highly recommend. Andres, that you research that, is way cheaper than MailChimp, even though we have not canceled MailChimp, but Flowdesk.
Flowdesk, I hadn't heard of it, no.
Right, I didn't before, until 2 weeks ago. One of my one-on-ones recommended to me. It was very good. Doesn't mean you're going to cancel anything else. You work with 3 or 4. You never know when that's going to stop working, where they're going to block you. You need to have 3 or 4 different systems, all right?
Now it doesn't matter which one is your system. The foundation is the content.
Exactly.
So your message, your value, the piece that you're getting in everybody's top of mind constantly, so that the right message grabs their attention and makes them really keep you in mind and take some sort of action to then do something with what you're giving them, correct?
Exactly.
So talk to us about your process and all the insights you want to give the agents out there on how to really craft, during these times, a good content strategy.
So again, I want to first and foremost remember, AIDA, the marketing process, I need to get your attention. And we already said it, that with my picture dressed professionally from 87 years ago, I'm not getting anybody's attention, especially when I'm competing against women in bikini and men at my age. Got it? We know that. All right. So again, it's very important that I have the right content. All right. The 5 mistakes owners in Coral Gables make when selling their home and how to avoid them. My picture is nowhere to be found. Right? Do not buy, for those of you who work with international clients, do not buy a property in South Florida or Orlando before reading this guide. I'm getting now your attention. Now, once I get your attention, I need that content in a guide, PDF form that I can offer to you. All right. Once I have that, then I get your email in exchange. Right? Now I can, through a sequence of automated email marketing drip campaigns, I can start develop your interest, which is step number 2, and then desire. Eventually, you're going to get a call from those people. And remember that it's much easier for people to do business with you when they reach out to you than when you reach out to them. Now, if you want to talk about all different contents, I'll be more than glad to do that.
I want to actually dig a little deeper on a little piece there, which is the concept of the lead magnets. The concept of the value equation. Every time you're putting a piece out, it has to have a call to action. So talk to us about your insights on the types of call to actions that you would recommend to penetrate market these days, especially with the circumstances that we're doing now, and what type of content they should be looking at to be empathetic with the situation, not always on a sell mode, but at the same time, be a resource to their clients and be able to get that value equation, that what is more important right now, giving you the email or getting access to the content you're providing me.
Very good. So before that, I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share with you on some of your agents that also work with me. They're going to hate me for that, but no problem. It's just like Nivaldo says, most people are not going to do anything. So anyway, I'm going to show it to you. All right. Let's see right here, because it's a process of setting it up, and then I'm going to take you through the process. Okay. Let me see. Let me share my screen right here. I'm going to give you one, which is my own campaign, and I give it to the agents that we coach. Use my own campaign. Just change the name and the picture. Look, can you see my?
Yes.
Okay. Don't look at how many people have it. Look, don't say this is the right time to buy in Miami. It's don't buy a property before reading this guide. Includes the 7 mistakes international buyers make. By the way, this is in Spanish. So you see the original is in Spanish. So if you see a little bit of bad wording right here, it's because it's translated so you guys can understand it. The 7 steps to buying a property in Miami. How many people, can you see how many people have shared this, Andres?
Yeah, 1,000.
Over 1,000 people. Andres, if I change this picture and I put my picture, who's going to share that?
Yeah.
Not even mom will share that, right? Because it's not relevant. So that's the first step. I need a hook. I need to give you something that gets your attention. As you saw, my picture is nowhere to be found because nobody cares about Orlando in the first stage. What they care is about value. Oh, wait a minute. There are 7 mistakes international buyers make. I'm a Mexican. I'm a Venezuelan, Argentinian. I want to get that. Now, in exchange, I get your phone number, your email, and your real name. And I put you in a drip campaign, which is step number 2. That's all automated, by the way. We do that with the black box. And you guys have something very similar in Avanti, all right? So again, like Andres said, it's not our black box or it's not Avanti. You need a system, right? Because you're going to start generating leads in a consistent basis. You're going to start generating 15, 20 leads a day. You can't reach out to those people in a daily basis manually because you don't know what to say to who when. So step number 1, you need a hook. You need a lead magnet. I think you will use that word, right? You need the lead magnet to get their attention. Then you need an automated sequence. Don't worry about the technical part. Avanti gives it to you automated. You don't have to be a technical person. We give it to you automated. You don't need to be a technical person. An automatic sequence so you can go into the system and see who is opening and engaging with your content. Step number 2. Step number 3, you reach out to those people. Hey, Andres, how you doing? I noticed that you yesterday you downloaded the guide 7 steps to buying a property in Miami. Tell me, number 1, how can I help you? Do you have any questions? That's it. Now, that's the content in regular times because you said that right now, specifically in this moment. So I'm asking the agents that we coach to lower their investment on lead generation to about 75% less, right? To 25%. And right now, generate evergreen content, which is the process of buying or selling properties, right? And start promoting that information. And for example, in social media, you have 3 basic campaigns. You have lead generation campaign, which is the one that we recommend and the one that we work with agents the most. You have profit campaign. That's when you have an open house, an awareness campaign, which is what we're talking about right now. Talk to your people, to your audience about what's happening in your community, about the numbers on your community. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think today is about lowering down a little bit the revenue pushing. Okay, and increasing the resource providing. Like for example, right now webinars like these. But I think many of our agents follow our advice in doing it. I'm super proud of you guys. I must tell you because you guys have been sending me. And Antonio Mea sent me, for example, this morning, and I saw Gianfranco also sent it to me. And you guys are doing great. They're providing webinars like the ones that we're doing, and we're facilitating now in Avanti as well, a whole platform for them to really consistently do this. But this is a great resource, and you interview the right people about the market, about investments, about the financing or the different situations that are going to, about assistance, about businesses, about renters, and that is value. So you could do that within a webinar scenario. You can do it within, and that's not even about the what, that's already the how. The what is the content. So remember, content it could be repurposed in many things. The content is the same content. How you deliver it and through what systems and platforms and channels is the how, which is the last piece. So let's mix those 2 together so we can go to the last one, which is, because you've already been talking about it. So content, you can find the content. The content is out there. You can get it from us. You can get it from you. You can get it from YouTube. You're not reinventing the wheel on content.
Not at all. It's a process from A to C. That's it. Buying a property is a process. Just explain it.
Exactly. Even the COVID-19 content, you don't have to be the scientist or the real estate expert to know what to say. You can really go on air on Friday and listen to me in my interview with the Venezuelan Business Club, for example, that I'm going to give in Spanish. They invited me to speak on their webinar, and then grab that content, repurpose it, and then you use it, and then you can use it in many channels, in many ways, or redraft about how to apply for the business loans. It's all there. The content about what realtors need to be doing, how to show properties right, how to be careful in your homes, etc. There's so much wealth of information these days. Your art is not about the information, it's about in how to position it and providing it, whether you're good in video, in audio, in text, or whatever it is. And that's the how, what channels you use. The same concept, you can even put it on YouTube, your video, and you have a caption thing. The YouTube translates your video.
Right.
And then you can download the caption, and that's a blog post.
Right.
And then you download the YouTube webinar, like the one we're giving now. You can download it on an MP3, and Orlando can put it as a podcast tomorrow on his podcast show.
It will.
That's it.
It will. So here's the point. By the way, I wrote this book back in 2005. Look, I had black hair and a little bit more hair right here.
Damn, you were young, man.
that was in 2005. There was no Facebook, YouTube, or anything like that. I think you can see here the date, 2005, right?
Yep.
I tell you guys, go to Amazon and get my book. It's not gonna make me richer. It's a sales plug right here. If you get into our coaching program, that's a sales plug, which is gonna make me and you richer. But go into Amazon and read it. This is a process of buying a property in the United States. You have all the content here. Copy it. That's it. Just change the words. All right. Very simple. You mentioned Antonio, who did a webinar yesterday, and he did amazing. Not only because he was able to talk to a lot of people, but more important, he got feedback from the people. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if he told you about that.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
So when things are back to normal, he's going, and Antonio works with me directly. And I'm saying, Antonio maybe said, oh, don't say anything. Listen, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, most people are not going to do anything. All right. So Alberto says right here, what happens? Because we're talking about content. We're talking about competition. You said the content is out there. You just get this for $11 in Amazon and you'll read the whole thing and say it in your own words. That's it. So Alberto says, what happened when you have 2 or 3 agents dominating an area for a few years? And I love that question. Number one, Alberto, don't worry about top competition. You can change that. By the way, worry if there is no competition in your area, because if there is no competition, it means that area is not active enough. Number two, very important. Don't worry about the top agents. They're not getting 100% of the market. The most they can get, my top agents might get close to 40%, close to 40%. All the other 60% is yours. Number three, the most important thing is you need the frequency and consistency. Again, you don't have the overhead the top agents have when you're getting started. So you don't need to close 80, 90 properties like the top agents. So just focus on developing your skills. That's it. And having the frequency and consistency with the right content. For the ones that want to know about that, you can take a picture of that, or you can go to Amazon, put Orlando Montiel, and you see the different books that I've written. I highly recommend you read that one so you understand the process of buying properties in Florida.
And again, you can't start with the how without the why and the what and the who, because it just doesn't make sense, because you won't have the right content. You'll have just a piece of content that is not relevant to your audience through your market, and you're not delivering it through the channel that makes sense to your audience. If you're going to an elderly crowd and you're using TikTok, you're just not going to get it. You can have how to live in a 55+ year community and have the best video and the best webinar, and you put it on TikTok and nobody will see it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So nobody that's relevant will see it, no?
Right.
So it's all about now spending the time to put all these things together right. Now, in terms of the how, I think, Orlando, it's a lot in this business about building and scaling trust.
Right.
No, I think that's at the end of the day, and the authority, the right content, the consistency, the simplistic message, and the right channel. It all comes down to how you build and scale trust. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the concept of trust, which is what we sell in our marketing, in our belief system. No?
Sure. At the end of the day, it's about delivering the right information with enough frequency and consistency. That's it. And that part of the how is the what platforms you use. And Pamela Diaz says, which CRM do you recommend? Right. And we're gonna go back to that right away. And I think Gianfranco said he loves Boom Boom. All right. But Antonio uses your CRM and he uses our CRM too. You don't need only one, maybe 2 or 3. It's not the more the better. But if you have 2 or 3 different ones, you have a very robust. So Pamela, to answer that part of the how with Andres, it's not only one CRM, all right? You can use the one that we use at Blackbox. If you want some information about this, email us. Info at Montiel Organization. We'll tell you exactly everything it has. You also have an amazing CRM with Avanti. Amazing CRM. Boom Boom is a great one too. The only thing with Boom Boom, Andres, is that I have very good agents that use it, but they're American. They don't have the translation done in Spanish. So if you work with Hispanic clientele, Boom Boom might not be the best product for you. Not because they're bad. It's just they're tailored more to the local American community. Your thoughts on the how?
Listen, I mean, in whatever you do, you ought to have, and Enrique and I always pound on this idea to you guys over and over, in Orlando also as well. We always have to have the right processes, the right systems, the right structures to deliver something cohesively, no? So systems is one part of that. I think what you should understand these days is that the problem out there with systems is that they are just tools. So tools come and go. Some of them adapt better to some people. Some of them adapt better to others. So what we're always trying to do at Avanti is to simplify the process so there's not an overlay of tools. It's not easy to do that if you're outside the company in Avanti. And I agree with Orlando. I mean, if you're not within a network that's technology driven like the one we have, you have to try to pick and choose out of outside products that exist. But my advice is whatever product you choose outside, try to keep it simple.
Exactly.
So most of these CRMs just are so complex to use that then you become just most of the time is just trying to figure out the CRM instead of figuring out the content. So most of my time would be spent on content, all audience building, understanding the emails that I sent out, because a lot of people just send out, do a lot of things and never spend the time to understand what worked, what didn't work, what leads did I get, what people clicked, and what am I going to do with that. So if you're just sending and doing stuff without checking in, you're going to have a harder time to try to pivot and to capitalize when things work, Orlando, because at the end of the day, a lot of mistake agents do is that when things work, many of them don't even know that they work because they're not checking. And number two, whoever sees that their campaigns or marketing or penetration strategies are working, they change. So that, oh my God, I was really good at doing this. You get it, you do it, and then you suddenly think you outgrow that. Oh no, man, now I'm gonna start doing this other thing. Listen, guys. Double milk it. If it's working, why change it? Exactly. I started at the beginning saying what got you here today is not what's going to get you here next. But that doesn't mean that you have to drop what's working. Make sense? You got to upgrade slowly.
100%. 100%, guys. So the question to you, I can continue here for us as long as you want, Andres, but the question to you is, you hear our webinar today. You hear many other webinars. The question is, what is it that you're, the one thing right now that you're going to focus in the next 30 to 40 days? Pick one. Is it your website? Is it your content? Is it your email system? Is it your CRM? Is it you're developing your presentation skills? Is it developing your objection skills? Pick one thing, right? Because what I've seen lately in the last 3-4 weeks is that, because I'm talking to agents every single day, is that they are so engaged on listening to ideas and trying to formulate their own, trying to create their own formula out of everybody's ideas, right? And how do we say in Spanish? There's a saying that, too many hands in the soup. What is it? Something like that, right? Right. So just make sure you follow a path that is proven, that works. All right. Stop listening to so many webinars. Just start identifying the one thing that you can do in the next 30 to 40 days that is going to move your business forward. All right.
Action. It's all about action. Ideas can come.
The right actions, right?
The right
action. It's not action. Oh, but I'm so pumped on doing presentations. I'm so pumped on email. I'm so pumped on website. I'm so pumped on handling. No, one thing. Master one thing. We don't make any money with information, which is what we get from the webinars. No money. Information is available to everybody. We make a little bit of money when we develop our knowledge by the repetition of the same information. Finally, we truly make money when we develop our skills, and that is only through repetition. I love when people say, no, I read one book a week or two. Why would you do that? Why would you want to read a book a week? Read the same 3-4 books 10 times in a year, 15 times in a year, and master those 3 books. My favorite quote comes from Bruce Lee. I don't fear the person, right, who practices 10,000 kicks one time. I fear the person that practices one kick 10,000 times. So stop going to so many webinars, so many different products, so many different books. Develop the skill. That's what's going to make you money.
100%. And create action, activities. It's not about, again, the information. It's about what you do with the information. In the same way, the value of your customer is no longer in the information that before we had as a realtors and they did not have. Now the value has to get upgraded to really making sense of that, becoming that resource, because the information or the basics of the information in a high level, they already have, no? Mm-hmm. So, and if you don't know where to start with the why, because if you don't have your why set up, it's going to be hard to take any other action. So at least in this quarantine, get that one right. If you need to develop your database, forget about systems. The database does not get developed by systems. Put it in Excel. Then you figure out what system you're going to upload it from. But if you just in this quarantine have not done your database and structured it right and get your audience together, do that, you're going to be so much on a different playing field by the time this is over that it's going to be another level. So depending on where you are as an agent in your life cycle, in your business cycle, you should choose what is the one thing and what are the things that are going to be the most relevant for your business right now. But creating a system for penetration cannot be easier than what you're going to have right now as you move along this end of the
That's the message. It's never been easier and cheaper to position yourself as the expert of choice in your target audience. Never been cheaper, all right? And it's not going to definitely be cheaper or easier when we go back to normal. So again, the question is, what is the one thing you can do right now to position yourself as the expert of choice? Stop the webinars. And I do a lot of them. And Andres does a lot of them too. Just take the right action, all right? And by the way, there's another question. Marisol's here. Another good thing is to have a content calendar. For Marisol, that might be more proactive in terms of content. It's great, right? But also make sure that you also have already a system like Avanti, like ours, like Boom, many systems that already have the content automated. So in case you don't have the time to create the content right now, it's already going out. It's all about penetration, market penetration, like Andres.
100%. Orlando, this has been an amazing talk. I think it's been very fulfilling. Hopefully it's been good to you guys. If you guys can just fill out the quick poll I'm going to put here before I want to open up for questions. You guys, I'd love for you guys to start typing the questions that you have. I would love to spend the last 15 minutes or so with Orlando and myself and having Orlando answer a lot of the questions. We'll both take a stab at it. So we've tried to really address most of the questions that there were in the chat, but please start asking the questions. And I'm going to put a quick poll here to you guys.
I'm putting my information here. Humberto says, where can we read those objections? We have them within our course, but I'm going to tell them to you, Humberto, because it's a 4.5-hour module on objections. But the 8 objections are price, commission, comparison, authority, escape technique, which is let me think about it. Number 6, no need, I don't need to sell. Number 7 is very simple, which is I'm satisfied, I don't need a real estate agent. And number 8 is compromise, bring me a buyer and I'll pay you the commission. Those are the 8 objections. If you truly want to master the objections, email me at info@montielorganization for all the information you might want to know about the objections, etc. You can also follow me on Orlando V Montiel on Instagram. And we can chat, through Instagram, and I'll be more than glad to answer questions through there. We do a lot of videos. I don't post much on Instagram. Follow what I do on Instagram. I don't post. I create videos. Let me close with this, Andres, so we can go to questions. If you are prone, even if you're not, but if you're thinking about doing videos, you got to get started today. Guys, a post on Instagram will give you between 40 to 80 likes, depending on how many people you have in your circle. A story on Instagram will give you about 150, 130, depending on how many people you have in your circle. But a video on IGTV will give you over 1,000. YouTube is the cheapest lead generation platform, and Facebook per view and leads charge the least on videos. So if you want to save money, if you want to have more traffic, you want to publish better, videos is the way to go. Very, very simple. And in a video, less than 2 minutes, this is a formula. I'll tell you what I'm going to say. I say it, step number 2, then I summarize what I said, and I give you a call to action telling you to subscribe and to wait for the next video, which is about X, Y, and Z. That's the formula. I'll tell you what to say, what I'm going to say, number 1. I'll say it, number 2. I'll summarize what I said, and the call to action is subscribe and wait for my next video, which is about X, Y, and Z. All right?
Amazing. And I see you guys at least identified the one thing you're going to start doing right now that makes us very happy, because we have 100% of you. Well, you have now more people that say that no, and they don't know where to start. So
that's the point.
So that's the point. That's the opportunity right there.
By the way, Andres, I'm gonna say something real quick that's kind of a plug, all right? Which is I'm gonna do a 40-day challenge, all right? A 40-day, it's a 40-day, only 40 days. Let's in the next 40 days, number 1, identify the one thing that you need to focus on. For everybody's different, all right? Number 2, how we're gonna tackle that. And number 3, the list of activities we need to do in the next 40 days. This is precious time. We can't waste it. We've seen already enough webinars. You've seen enough, I've seen enough, right? This is the time. Let's focus the next 40 days. We might get out of this before 40, maybe a little bit more. Nobody knows. But let's make sure we use that this time wisely. So if you want more information about the 40-day challenge, just email me at info@Montiel Organization. We have a lot of agents from Avanti, and I refer you back to Avanti because Avanti has a lot of resources, right? And the agents that we coach from Avanti use both, right? One doesn't exclude the other.
No. 100%. It doesn't, and having a coach is extremely, extremely important, because at a company level and at a brokerage level, we get you guys to really get all those research, the right tech, the simplicity, the data, the push that we really give as a broker as a whole, and we try to accommodate to everybody as far as the support system. But then having an accountability coach that can then get you to really address what your 90-day plan, your 60-day plan, your 30-day plan that we all learn how to do and deliver and craft as part of Avanti is what then gets you to really execute. And many people, you having somebody that's really right there with you and understands your process, and it's constantly there trying to understand where are you, what things did you do wrong the week before, how can we then change that the week after, and how are we analyzing the results. It's extremely, extremely important part of the process. And again, I think working on 90-day cycles is great on whatever you do. So always commit to a plan. And a plan, and without action is just a wish, and without time frames. So have a plan, have actions, and definitely be able to deliver.
And by the way, in this 40-day real estate challenge, it is specific to this situation, right? So how do you handle objections from buyers right now that are telling you, I want to wait? How do you handle objections from sellers that say, I want to take my property off the market? How do you respond to that? How do you answer to, hey, what's going to happen to the market? What type of content should I be publishing? Should I do lead generation campaign right now? Should I be talking about something else? That's what we're going to go through in the process of, putting your business in a position to win once this situation is over. Because like Andres said it, this is going to pass. We don't know when, but it's going to pass. So we better be ready, up and running with all the resources, all right? Whether you're using any other one, ours or Avanti or together, all right? All the resources to move your business forward.
100%. Anybody, that's a great punchline to finish it off. Anybody has a question that you want, like Orlando to address? I'd be happy to.
I think we have a few here.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have.
So Gustavo says, I never hear about from you 40-day challenge, because Gustavo, I never had a 40-day challenge ever. This is something very unique. The objections we're getting from buyers, the objections we're getting from sellers, the type of systems you have right now, like Andres said, what got you here is not what's gonna get you to the results in the future. So I never had, Gustavo, a 40-day challenge. It's just a quarantine challenge, right? 40 days. We've been in this 3-4 weeks. We don't know for how long. So let's set this system up, because we are in a completely different environment, Gustavo. We never had the time we had in our hands before. Never, right? So he said, well, I don't have the time. I got to go show property. I got to do a presentation. We never had this time. So this is the 40 days that we need to make sure we get the most of. So it's a completely different program that you've seen before.
Igor is asking about the 8 objections. Tell me about what are the 8 objections, Orlando. So
one more time. And that's part of what you need to develop. So one of the 40-day challenges, you need to develop yourself as a listing agent. And the most important thing about listing agent is being able to answer the objections. You are going to identify the 80-90 properties sold. You're going to identify your target audience. You're going to make a presentation. But if you've done all of that and you don't know how to handle objections, we're done. So I'm going to repeat them for you again. Guarantee you 100%. Think about any objection, and it's going to be one of those 8. Number 1, price. My property, Andres, that I bought 3 weeks ago for $300,000, and I changed the carpet. Now I want to sell it for $700,000, right? Always our properties is more valuable than the neighbors. That price is number 1 objection. Number 2 is commission. Why are you charging 6% when the other agent is charging 4%? Number 2. Number 3 is comparison. I love your presentation, but I want to learn. I want to talk about to other agents before I make the decision. Number 4 is authority. I need to consult with my spouse. Number 5 is an escape technique. Let me think about it. What do you say to that? Number 6 is I don't need to sell. Listen, if somebody pays me $1 million for the property that I bought for $85,000 last week, great. If not, I won't sell it. Number 7, it's satisfied. I'm completely satisfied with what I'm doing right now. I have a for sale sign, flat fee MLS. I don't need a real estate agent. How do you answer that? And number 8, compromise, which is bring me a buyer and I'll pay you the commission. You need to be prepared to answer those objections in a normal market. In this market is, should I take my property on market? What do you think is going to happen to the real estate market? All right.
Awesome.
All right.
Amazing. That's a great point. Let's continue.
Question. Inez has a question. You want to read it?
Yes, go for it. Okay, so Inez has a question about how do you feel about building a story brand? My passion, identifying your audience and message.
At the end of the day, that's when I give, and Inez, you're a seasoned player in this area, right? You need to develop your own persona. Got it? Again, people buy way more into people than they buy into products. So developing that story, listen, nobody takes action until you move them emotionally. And the way I move my people when I'm closing a big seminar is talking about my own story. And I talk about Jaime, my first client. I talk about Unit 506. And I'll give you real quick. Do you want to go over this real quick, Andres?
Sure.
So this is my story. So my story is real quick. I came from banking, Bank of America, biggest bank in the United States, right? I had the leads, the international leads in S. So that's my story, right? And I said, you know what? I have the leads. These are international clients. They have their money parked in the bank. I have all the leads in the world. And Jaime, my first client, called me and said, Orlando, I want to go and see a property, a 3-bedroom property in Key Biscayne, in the Grand Bay. And we went to Unit, Andres, Unit 506. And I still have the pictures. And I'm walking. Listen, give me the chills. I walk in this lobby. I'm about to make $48,000. I still remember the number. I didn't know anything else, but I knew I was going to make $48,000. And I walk into this magnificent lobby. You've been to the Grand Bay in Key Biscayne. And Jaime asked me a very simple question. Orlando, how many 3-bedroom properties are for sale in the building? Do you think I knew? I had no clue. All right? I don't sweat. I'm a person that doesn't sweat much. I started sweating. I felt my head completely, red. And I was going up the private elevator. And man, I was praying to God, please don't let Jaime ask me another question. We all been through that process. So why am I telling this story? Well, I learned, he gave me 3 lessons that day. He took me to Linda V. Remember Linda V, Andres and Kim?
Yeah. Wow.
That was a long time. Andres go like, wow.
Now we know. Now I understand the other picture in your book.
All right. So he said this to me, Orlando. First and foremost, understand that people buy way more into people than they buy into products. Number 2, if you want to grow your business, who has to grow first, your business or you? You need to grow in order for your business to grow. And finally, number 3, you need to develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, everybody finds out exactly who you truly are. So that's my story. That's my brand story. When I'm in seminars, you tell your story, how you got started in real estate, right? And document that. Andres.
I think that's a very, very important. And if I can give you guys a tip as far as developing your story and your brand, ask the following question. What is your worldview? What is it that you feel that the world should be? What's your belief system? What are you the best at? What is your most important value on how you can make things better or how the world should look for you, for a client, for the industry that you're in? This is a very tough question to answer. It is not something you can answer in 1 second. It's something that has to get you to go back and think. But in that question, there's many variables that you will start understanding about who you are as a person and what do you need to, deliver for others to really find value in what you offer. So at the end of the day, what people do business with people that they connect with, and you connect with people on what their view of the world or the industry or the process or the idea of how things should work is. So again, people don't these days. People connect more through brands that identify them that sometimes religion. So brands are very important, and brand is built by values and your belief system. So I think if you start trying to identify values, belief system with what you believe should the world should look like, that will give you a lot of reflection into try to identify what's your big why and how you can translate that into a value proposition.
Going back to what Ines said, adding the brand to the story, right? I'm going to give you 3 very basic samples. I'm going to start with number 1. Who would have thought that people would not only pay, but stand in line before getting to work to pay $4 for black coffee? Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Has Starbucks ever said, we have the best coffee? Do they say that ever in their branding? In their story, Ines?
And they have the ugliest logo in the world because people keep fixated about their logo.
Ugly, and you can't understand it.
You can't understand it.
Try to pronounce Starbucks now because it's a brand, a famous brand. You couldn't understand before. So it's not about the logo. It's not about the name. It's about the story. The story is the 3rd place. First place is your home. 2nd place is your office. 3rd place is Starbucks, so you can socialize with your people. That's their story. They've never said, we have the best coffee. What is the environment that you provide for your clients? What is the experience? So the storiness is all about the experience. If you've been through the United States in different parts, listen, Disney, it's by far in the middle, not in the top. Go to Tennessee, you'll see parks with good rides, good rides. But it's the experience that you get when you go to a Disney park. By the way, you see the numbers for Disney and Universal and the other, Universal Studios, and it's way below. It's just the experience they're giving you. Harley Davidson, right? They never said they have the best motorcycles, and people that know, I don't know much about motorcycles, but the people that know about motorcycle, they say they don't have a great mechanical or engine, right? But it's their story. What's your story? What's your experience? It's all about the experience you're providing to your clients. And the only way to communicate that is to publishing. Constant frequency and consistency of your marketing methods.
Yeah. And in the consistency, it all has to tie down to your belief system and your why and your clarity on your message. You cannot be all over the place. And it's not about the same color and the same logo. That's not what creates the consistency.
Exactly.
The consistency is the message, the message that's behind, that's clear. When you hear BMW, everybody makes cars, but it's not the ultimate driving machine, I guess,
Right. That's it.
Tesla, I mean, and again, it's one of the most incredible things in the world. But once I changed from a regular car to a Tesla, this is not a regular car anymore.
That's an experience.
It is different. It's a computer that takes you somewhere. Everybody else can be competing in the car market, so you're competing somewhere else. Same as, Enrique always recommends this book, which is the Blue Ocean Strategy. What everybody's getting killed in the red ocean, you are in the blue ocean strategy. You're trying to go and deliver something completely different. At Avanti, again, for example, it's not about the tools. Our AVIC system is not a tool. It is just a fabric that holds together an experience for the agent, the consumer, etc. But a tool is just a tool. So a lot of people have always asked us, why don't you sell the software? You have said it many times, Orlando, no? But it's not about the tool. The tool changes the perspective. It's about how you really deliver an experience that, yes, has a tool inside that makes that alive or part of the experience you deliver. Right. Any other question, guys? Anybody else? I think we went through most of them. No, I don't know if you saw another one there. If anybody we didn't answer your question, this
is a 40-day challenge. It's from Realtors at Avanti. No, it's from anywhere. So if you want to join the 40-day challenge, whether you're with Avanti and or not, most of you are with Avanti. And again, we coach many of the agents in Avanti, and I recommend Avanti a lot. I mean, it's an amazing company. I not only don't know Andres very well, but Enrique. We had a long-term relationship, business relationship. All right. So we know each other, and I know Ines very well. So again, it's just to help you guys in the process. All right.
All right, guys. So Orlando, again, I really wholeheartedly on behalf of the whole Avanti Way family and the real estate community, we thank you for your time, for your great wisdom and great information that you help us provide today. And again, keep on following Orlando and everything that he's doing. He's really keeping the communications alive during this time. Follow us and make sure that you register to the continuous sessions that we're opening up to the public, and the one that we have in Avanti as well. And just stay current, stay moving. But as Orlando said, don't just get information. You gotta put everything into action. So if there's one thing that we can take away from us today and you implement that, let us know that you did it. Send us the information. Look, Andres, Orlando, look what I did. Look at our piece. We'll be happy to check your pieces. We'll be happy to check your information. I'm sure you do, Orlando, as well. And just provide any feedback to help you succeed. Stay safe. Follow what the authorities are saying. We will get out of this 100%. So
this is your time, guys.
How will you be when we're out? No?
Yep. Exactly. It's not to us what's going to happen. It's us and what we're going to do right now. This is your time. The playing field has never been more level. Use it to get advantage, to get ahead in this real estate market.
100%. Guys, have a safe rest of the week. We'd love to continue to hear from you guys. And again, Friday, Ines and Enrique have another great marketing webinar, which Orlando said at the beginning. Ines is one of those agents that built their business online. Enrique is going to pick her brain about how she did that. So a lot of the actionable steps of what we learned today, Ines will give there. And whoever has Spanish-speaking clients, I would love to invite them to hear me on the market and how the situation of the market is in Spanish with the Venezuelan Business Club. We have that going on Friday as well. Reach out to us, and please stay safe. Orlando, thank you once again. It's always a pleasure. Next time, hopefully we can do this over here and in person, no?
My pleasure. Monte says, can you recommend a book to chew on listing agents? Well, I would always recommend my own book. I highly recommend also The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, all book, but it also has good things. And again, if you don't want to read any books, go to the Montiel organization. I'm going to put the link here and see the top listing agents that I interview across the nation. Top listing agents interviews, Montes. I'm going to put the link here so you can watch those videos. By the way, let me do one more thing. 2 weeks ago, I interviewed an agent in Miami, one of the top 5 agents in Miami, Dina Golden Tiger. She went from rents of $1,200 to over $220 million in listings. $220 million in listings. You want to know how she did that? Watch the Miami Real Estate Show. It's free, guys. So just subscribe there and you'll get the alerts. All right.
Thank you, Orlando. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.